The year is 1946. World War II had just ended, and with the fall of the angry mustache guy in Germany, the crispening of the Japanese in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the specter of global nuclear war looming large at the start of the Cold War, the greatest minds in America were left to ponder the true philosophical question of the day. What would be the future of basketball? Up to this point, professional games had taken place in random locations like high school gymnasiums, hotel ballrooms, and federal penitentiaries. The two existing leagues at the time, the American Basketball League and the National Basketball League, were only regional powers operating as smaller markets in the Northeast and Midwest. That all changed when in 1946, a group of stunning and brave rich guys who happened to own ice hockey arenas started their own professional basketball league in a move that many would deem stunning and brave. This maverick foray into professional basketball would be branded the Basketball Association of America, and it was a fucking mess. The league started with 12 teams. Pay and profit were so low that 4 teams folded after the first season. The league itself only lasted 3 seasons until they merged with the NBL in 1949 to form the NBA. Over the years, the bodies hit the floor as the hugely unprofitable league trimmed the amount of teams to 8 and refined the rules. People poured in to see their favorite former college players on the big stage, but the league had yet to start printing some serious motherfucking paper. Legends like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain squared off throughout the 60s, but the fat stacks had yet to pile
Broke
up.
nigga alert. Broke nigga
Is
alert.
it talking about me?
Broke nigga
I
alert.
think so, my nigga.
Broke nigga
Even after the NBA merged with the even more financially desperate ABA to form the modern NBA in 1976, they were still having 99 problems. And money was all of them.
I'm broke, nigga, I'm broke!
But look, a new hope on the horizon! Ha-ha! With the arrival of Larry Bird of Indiana State and Magic Johnson of Michigan State in 1979, the stage was set for the league-wide profit to explode.
Thank you, God.
From then on, those motherfuckers would be making money moves. It was tough from the start. In the 1979-80 season, collective losses for the then 23-team league rose an insane 62.5% to $13 million from $8 million just a season before it. The next season after that, 16 of 23 teams lost money, and they were looking to downsize the league. To cap it off, their broadcasting contract with USA Network was worth a measly $1.5 million over 3 years. Even playoff games were getting such low ratings that the network refused to air them live because it would interfere with their smash hit, very heterosexual cowboy opera, Dallas, which was in reruns. They instead aired the taped version of the NBA Finals at 11:30, which is the modern day equivalent of postponing a game because fucking James Corden is more entertaining.
Fuck off, fatty.
But then, something funny started happening. Those two beautiful, non-health issue having saplings had blossomed into bona fide stars, and it was getting people's attention. 1984 was the turning point. First-year commissioner David Stern had just taken over, and he was looking to make some bank and began going hard as fuck on the cable deals, even with that new commissioner smell still on him. Take a look at this. 1984, 2 years, $20 million with TBS. 1986, 2-year, $25 million with TBS and 4-year, $173 million with CBS. 1988, 2-year, $50 million with TNT. 1990, 4-year, $275 million with TNT and 4-year, $601 million with NBC.
Damn!
This son of a Jewish deli owner was cooking. In that time, shoe deals and player advertisements began to flourish as well. Those two little STD and back pain-free saplings had since grown into big, strong oak trees with name recognition. They did clean raps on TV commercials to sell Converses to children of all creeds and colors, just as Dr. King dreamed of 2 decades prior.
You already know what you did for me.
What?
I walked away with the MVP.
The Congress weapon.
And the 80s were only the beginning of the meteoric rise of player pay. Check out this graph of the NBA's highest paid players from 1950 until the 80s adjusted for inflation. In the beginning, George Mikan was pulling in just shy of $200K. Then, after fucking shit up in his first season in the league, Wilt the Stilt cashed in a record $670K a year deal. The money flowed freely from there. Legendary names like Bill Russell, Kareem Coretta Scott King Abdul-Jabbar, and the Heartstopper Pistol Pete. Until at last, Bill Walton and Moses Malone broke the green ceiling into the $1 Million Club, only to be joined by Dr. J, Moses Malone, and Thurgood Marshall Abdul-Jabbar a year later. Moses doubled it a year later, and Magic edged him a year after that, before Patrick Ewing edged him and Larry Bird edged him in turn, only to retire that same year. But even Cain and Abel over here paled in comparison to the behemoth that would be unleashed upon the world just as they reached their peaks. Up until this point, a certain name has been missing. Take a nanosecond to ponder who it may be. You take a guess?
David Robinson!
What? No. Well, he did pull in the highest salary in the league after Larry Legend blew his back out doing chores, but he is not whom I am referring to.
I'm Michael Jordan.
That's right. It's every HR manager's smooth-headed payroll and workplace harassment nightmare, Michael Jordan.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's all MJ's fault. I hate to say it, but with the popularity of his airness came the solidification of players as brands. No longer was it enough to have a cool skyhook or score 100 in a game. You now had to transcend, to be something greater than basketball. You had to be a brand, and a successful one at that. You had to sell shoes, car commercials, and even the NBA itself. The NBA was dependent on its superstars to make a profit and grow its brand, and the superstars were dependent on the NBA to grow their brand and make a profit. Along with increasingly lucrative collective bargaining agreements, players were making more than ever, year on end, until this very day. Let's go back to that salary graph. If we ignore the statistical anomaly that was Michael Jordan's big, girthy, uncut paycheck, we still see these salaries taking off faster than Usain Bolt sprinting to the Jamaican bank before all his money could be stolen. And this is only the tip of the iceberg, folks. With the dawn of the social media, players are now more than ever incentivized to project themselves in a certain way. It's become contrived, much like how The Rock went from an arrogant yet lovable entertainer with cool catchphrases to a walking talking commercial for products he doesn't even use, and also a gigantic cap artist when it comes to his steroid use. NBA players went from letting their game do the talking to letting their PR teams do the talking. And now, it's killing their games. Let's dive into the problems that came with the hyper-financialization of the NBA. The way I see it, there are two main problems. Problem number one, profit is prioritized over quality. This is most prevalent in the prioritization of guard play. Simply put, guard highlights are hella flashy and look cool. You don't have to be a fucking basketball wizard to comprehend someone getting crossed so hard they look like Lana Rhoades sucked their socks off. But you do have to have at least some appreciation for the game to see the beauty in a well-executed pocket pass. In doing this, the NBA makes the mistake of marketing their product to the lowest common denominator once they garner the unequivocal support of hardcore fans like all other brands. Money grabs are also killing the immersion. Imagine this. You're sitting at your TV watching a great sequence. The teams trade blows. It's getting chippy. A player makes a sweet move to get to the rim, gets the layup, and the foul. You're hyped. You jump up from your couch and you say some generic shit like, "That's what I'm talking about," or "He's only 19," and you're locked in to watch the three-point play be completed. And then Jake from State Farm butts in to remind you that you can save on car insurance that will never be paid out because it's a fucking scam, and if it's a Giannis free throw, Mr. Pfizer will also have the opportunity to remind you to get your 23rd COVID vaccine. The immersion is broken, the chub you just worked up recedes inside of you like a turtle, your already strained marriage officially falls apart, and worst of all, the game is ruined. Not only does throwing ads in little places like free throws, 30-second timeouts, and little patches on players' jerseys break the immersion of the game, it actively makes me want to never buy another Subway fucking sandwich again, which I don't exactly need fucking convincing in the first place. The NBA has also made the bet that dumb gimmicks will help boost their already huge revenues and bring up lagging viewership numbers. Dumb shit like the Disney COVID bubble and the in-season tournament cheapen the game because they can't be taken as serious substitute for the actual high-quality competition that fans expect from the world's premier basketball league. You can't bring a clown to the Oscars and expect the same results as Daniel Day-Lewis. And to add insult to injury, NBA League Pass is overpriced and doesn't give you the games you actually want to see half the time. NBA app is buggy and doesn't fucking work, and ticket prices are astronomical even for fucking Pistons games. These all seem like the way the league punishes their most avid fans because they make the assumption that the fans are so loyal to the brand that they won't turn their backs on the league no matter how many backshots they receive. But that's just not the case. The second problem downstream from this is that branding is prioritized in order to maximize profit. The NBA under David Stern quickly figured out that the best way to make money is to have as many big names as possible. And when MJ came around and started putting up insane 30-plus point per game seasons with countless memorable highlights to boot, it became clear that the brand was to go big or go home. The amount of attention a player can draw largely influences their payout. A player is incentivized to chase stats and highlights to grow their social media following so that they can garner the clout necessary to secure shoe deals and car commercials and custom brand dildos instead of getting their asses in the gym and working on their game. These are all things that take away time and attention from actually playing basketball. And the more of the focus goes towards doing the off-court stuff to secure generational wealth, the less focus the players and the league have on the substance of the game. They've chosen style over substance. The league, for its part, has prioritized expanding its market share internationally, as I alluded to before. They'll do literally anything to make all international audiences happy, and in the process, they make nobody happy. Look no further for proof than the Daryl Morey incident. To give a quick summary, there were huge protests in Hong Kong over the overthrow of their democracy by communist China.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Then Rockets general manager Daryl Morey was one of the many notable Americans to speak up about the incident, but also one of the only voices in the NBA to do so. The league responded by silencing him in order to stay in the good graces of the brutal Chinese dictatorship, who threatened to ban the NBA from airing there. LeBron James, a notoriously uninformed man who lies about reading books, even came out and claimed that Morey himself was not informed on the issue and that we have to be careful about what we say about China. Meanwhile, the league has been pushing crazy social justice narratives that are unfairly critical of the country they primarily serve. It doesn't take a genius to see that American fans, i.e. the very reason why the NBA is as culturally relevant as it is today, are being taken for granted and taken advantage of. The league believes that American fans will tune in no matter what they say or do, so they should cater to international markets and normies, and the basketball lovers will just come along for the ride. But this raises the concern. How bad can the product become before fans tune out? And how many fans have to tune out before the league finally realizes they have to make a change? Is the NBA ever going to put basketball over money? Or will greed ruin the NBA for good?